that weird class that a lot of people think sucks during pre-hard mode, but gets better during hard mode. And as the #1 mage simp in Terraria YouTube, I am sometimes left scratching my head as to why the Terraria masses have been so misinformed. So today, I'll be beating Terraria without using the weapons most people use when playing Mage, to prove that Mage has a whole lot more viable options than people give it credit for, even in pre-hard mode. What, Thorbin? What unused Mage weapon shall we go for first? The answer is obvious. The wand of... No, everybody uses that weapon. The wand of sparking is usually the default mage weapon people think of, but it has a nasty tendency to be impossible to find whenever you actually want it. Regardless, it's what many people think of as the first weapon you get when playing mage. So what weapon could I possibly go for pre-boss? Well, we're heading to the desert to get it, but it's not the Thunder Zapper, one of Mage's best pre-boss weapons. No, instead we're going to try to craft the Amber Staff. I have never once used the umbrella unironically as a weapon. Gem staves in general get made fun of a lot for not being very good, and I agree, changes need to be made, which the developers have heard and are currently working on fixing, as well as adding even more mage weapons into the mix for pre-hard mode. Even so, if you're not lucky enough to find a wand of sparking, are afraid of the desert, and don't want to farm demons at the beginning of the game, you're probably going to resort to one of these gem staves. Even so, I think most people stick to the ones found in regular caves that honestly have much more problems than the one I am going for. See, the Amber Staff requires amber and sturdy fossils, two things you can find in every world reliably, while the other staves might require some extra steps like shimmering, fishing, or extractinating for a specific ore. I'm probably going to end up relying on an extractinator as well, but these desert fossils you mine up down here have a very high chance of dropping the sturdy fossils and amber that I need for the staff. So I won't need to rely on the extractinator's RNG, only the RNG to actually get to the extractinator. But going here this early doesn't come without its drawbacks, as the early game desert is very dangerous, so it might be wise to instead try to explore some regular caves for starting loot that'll help us survive. This one happens to connect to the underground tundra, which doesn't have anything useful weapon-wise, although you can often find gems in the underground tundra if you're struggling to find them in regular caves. We didn't get far and only found an ice blade, but that'll help me explore the desert easier. It shoots a magic beam, so I think the ice sword counts as a mage weapon, you know, because magic beams. Every class is secretly just mage class. We find some dune riders and a desert pyramid that happens to be on the outskirts with a sandstorm in a bottle, so we already have our mobility accessories checked off the list. Now we just need that weapon, our first weapon of the unused ones, and to make it easier to obtain, I'm hoping for an extractinator down here, but I haven't had any luck. If worst comes to worst, I can farm tomb crawlers for sturdy fossils, and amber is pretty commonly found along the cave walls. Even with these obstacles though, the early game desert does have some wonderful items to find. Big toys! Yay! Yes! Oh my goodness, that's so good. Even so, it's weird being down here while not looking for the Thunder Zapper. Hopefully it's not a Thunder Zapper. I should have said it! I shouldn't have said it! After having no luck for an hour in the desert, we give the tundra a try, but once again, the extractinator is nowhere to be found. So let's just say that relying on the extractinator for your first weapon is not the smartest choice. I've already got stupid good mobility accessories and the amber robe. I just need the stupid extractinator to get this run started. So we found one using completely legitimate methods. Let's just, you know, look around the shimmer. Oh look, there's a treasure chest next to the shimmer. It has an extractinator? Crazy. Wow, what are the odds that there would be an extractinator right next to the shimmer? Man, I've been looking for that for so long. I'm so lucky. Now that we can actually extractinate our desert fossils, we can get all the materials we need for our very first unused weapon of the run, the Amber Staff. Obtained completely 100% legitly. Now all we need to start killing bosses is a wizard hat and... Oh right, I need to find a band of regen. Oh, well there it is, band of regen. All right, perfect timing. What a coinkydink. That was an actual coincidence, all right? Now let's keep mining straight down until we reach the lair that Tim will spawn so we can get a wizard hat. Oh, dude, we got a Tim immediately, dude. Ever since we lucked our way into a extractinator, we've been getting crazy good luck. If you don't know, wearing any gem robe increases the spawn chance of Tim, I believe, by like 5 times. So if you want to play mage and are looking for a wizard hat, that will help tremendously. But now we are ready to fight the eye. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Amber Staff shares the exact same stats as the Ruby Staff. They are literally the exact same weapon crafted differently, and makes me even more excited for the gem stave changes coming in 147. Mage against the eye, what you want to do is try to not target the servants. until you're kind of low on mana. All right, now that we're in second phase, this is where you really want to try and avoid killing them. Okay, and oh, there goes the last of the mana stars that we could have benefited from. Just run. Run in regen. Run in regen. Only take the shots that you know you can make. Only take the shots you know you can make, kids. Life lessons with Thorbin. We're getting there. You guys totally can't hear any of that, right? And he's taking that. Oh no, I'm missing my shots. I'm missing my shots. Oh no. No, oh, that is an L. That is a huge L. Okay. Now I have a problem. I don't have enough lenses to make any more summons, and I'm having no luck with Demon Eyes spawning or finding summons in chests. So we'll quickly break 2 Crimson Hearts to hopefully get the goblins spawning while we wait. And since this is just tedious farming, where is the treasure? Oh, hello. Probably have like a thunder zapper or something. I knew it! We'll skip to the part where the eyes spawn naturally, and I didn't absolutely whiff the fight, resulting in a victory. But before we continue, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that big juicy red subscribe button down below. Now the reason I was so focused on the eye is because its shield is incredibly helpful for taking down our second boss, Deerclops, who drops our second unused mage weapon, the Weatherpane. Why is this unused? Because Deerclops drops it, and nobody can be bothered to beat Deerclops. But of all our drops, I think it's the best one. We clear the goblins before fighting Deerclops, which can be summed up quite simply. Stupid shadow, stinking, stupid hands. Deerclops has always been the awkward boss where by the time you're strong enough to defeat the deer easily, there's nothing she drops that's worthwhile, but if you fight her early enough that her weapons are actually useful, then you're in for quite the slog. In particular for Mage, since she has no minions to farm mana stars from. So this really isn't an ideal setup in the least, but since she won't despawn, we can win this war of attrition. And we didn't get it. Since this is a Crimson world, I need a panic necklace to get the band of star power, and if I can get one, I can upgrade to the mana regeneration band. That help a lot against Deerclops, and this third orb doesn't drop a necklace, but we're thrown into a brain battle. Usually the Thunder Zapper strength or Crimson Cloud's bonus damage are very helpful here, but both are ruled out as commonly used weapons. But with power equivalent to a Ruby Staff, even if the battle is a little longer than it is for most other classes, taking down the brain isn't much of a hurdle at all. Now let's get that panic necklace. Dude, what the heck? There's one. Oh my, that might have even been the last part. Oh my goodness. Just one more thing. I need an Ectomist, and I haven't been collecting tombstones. So sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. With better mana regeneration and a few accessory upgrades, taking down Deerclops is a bit easier, and this time we get the weapon we're after. Now for those of you who don't know about this weapon, or even those who do, you might not understand its function, like how I didn't for the longest time. See, the Weatherpane is a support weapon akin to the Magnet Sphere. You shoot it, and it does its thing for a little while before going away. You should never spam shoot this thing, as you'd only be wasting mana and time. Before we continue, this video is sponsored by Highstar, who is creating these amazing Terraria mats. They sent me a few that I can showcase for you. They all look absolutely astonishing. The one that I use all the time for my setup is this really cool one with a wyvern. Is my favorite one. I would highly recommend it, but these other ones are also fantastic. It's just my desk is a little cluttered, so I don't swap them out. But if you would like one of these awesome, high-quality desk mats for yourself, use my link in the description below. It really helps out the channel a lot, and thanks Highstar for sponsoring this video. From there, we'll head to the dungeon for our third unused mage weapon, the Book of Skulls. A very good weapon, but one that gets overshadowed by the 3 better mage weapons found inside the dungeon. That combined with the not 100% chance of Skeletron dropping it often results in the Book of Skulls becoming the Book of the Ignored. You might now be wondering what other weapons in hard mode I would consider unused. Well, all of the dungeon ones I'm considering off limits. They are all great in their own rights, and even if often not used for very long, they are very often sought after, and I still hold out hope that my many videos talking about how great the Aqua Scepter is has made it a more valued weapon to people. We will not be obtaining the B-Gun, although I do think it'd be fair to count it as an unused weapon, as I don't think mage players see nearly as much value in B builds as other classes might. That on top of its mediocre abilities, I think make the B-Gun irrelevant. The Space Gun and Zapnator are vital parts to the Meteor Armor strategy I personally often use, and even if maybe I could say the Zapnator is unused because of its rarity, I think it's still common enough to label it off limits. That should cover every mage weapon except the Demon Scythe, Flower of Fire, and Flame Lash. The Demon Scythe is the go-to mage weapon of loads of people, so it's ruled out, and the Flame Lash is a homing weapon, and everybody uses homing weapons, leaving only the Flower of Fire. Even if not the most unused weapon, I still think it's often not what most people will go for, so if this Skeletron does not drop the Book of Skulls, then we'll be on our way to collect the Flower of Fire. As for the battle against the Bone Boss, mixing the Amber Staff and Weather Pane does pretty decent damage, although the Weather Pane performs best once the hands are down, as while the hands are there, it can bounce between targets, resulting in it often missing the target. I may not be able to collect a single weapon down here, but I do still need the Shadow Key for the Flower of Fire, and I want an alchemy table. Heading off to the Underworld then, we'll collect our final weapon of pre-hard mode, and if you haven't been keeping track, there are 23 pre-hard mode mage weapons, and I only permitted myself to use 4 of them. That's great and all, but I still have to beat the Wall of Fresh, and none of the typical strategies of using the Demon Scythe, Aquascepter, Space Gun, or Zapnator are available to me. So just how difficult is the wall going to be? Well, prepare yourself to be amazed, because I didn't even build a Hell Bridge. Oh wow, we've actually done really good damage already. Let's go. Is the Flower of Fire actually not bad against the wall? All right, we got it halfway. Oh, don't get caught. I did not think the Flower of Fire would actually do this well against the wall on its own. I was ready for this to be a struggle fest, but this is actually doing quite fine. Absolutely amazing. No way. I still wouldn't recommend it as your main, as there are better options, but not even I anticipated just how well this weapon would do on its own. Even if you don't plan on using it against the wall though, it's important for mage players to know that the Flower of Fire is the absolute best pre-hard mode mage weapon to use in early hard mode. You may find yourself shocked by how well this thing handles those enemies as you work on collecting your next weapon. But why am I in the Underground Tundra, you may ask? To obtain the Flower of Frost and the Frost Staff. But let's pause for a second. We just entered hard mode, where most people think mage actually starts competing with the other classes, and when we look at the wealth of weapon options, it is easy to see why. There are 22 mage weapons that are obtainable pre-mech, so which of these are we outlawing? We'll start with the 3 tomes. I think the Crystal Storm is more unused, but with how easy it is to craft, we'll rule it out. The Laser Rifle usually isn't farmed for, but with it being the wall's mage weapon drop, we'll also rule that one out. The Orange Zapinator is out for the same reasons as the gray one. The Sky Fracture and Crystal Serpent are 2 metas people really liked for at least a time, and the Meteor Staff, Crystal Vial Shard, and Life Drain I think are relatively well-known destroyer shredders. The Shadow Flame Hextall is not an uncommon one to farm for early on. The Magic Dagger isn't the most uncommon, but not super rare either. The Klinger's Staff and Nimbus Rod are beloved support weapons. The Spirit Flame is regarded as one of the best pre-mech mage weapons. The Killing Deck, despite its newness, can be so easily obtained that I'll rule it out to play it safe. The Poison Staff I generally don't use, but I heard many people say that they will go for it in early hard mode. Crossing all of those off, leave the Bloodthorn, Medusa Head, Ice Rod, Frost Staff, and Flower of Frost. I think declaring these 5 as basically unused is pretty fair. Mage has nothing to farm for in the Tundra, so going out of your way for what are ultimately rare but only decent weapons isn't what I see most people doing. The Medusa Head and Bloodthorn are ignored because of their rarity and the danger involved in obtaining them, combined with them being outclassed by far easier weapons to obtain. As for the Ice Rod, I don't see people use this as a weapon as much as a building tool, which is why I'm including it. Now, you know whenever you make a Plantera arena, you inevitably get swarmed by tons of enemies? Well, if you take that logic with you into the Tundra, you can greatly increase the odds of finding the enemies you need for the frozen mage weapons. The Flower of Frost is a nearly 32% drop chance from frozen mimics, which sounds great until you remember frozen mimics are quite rare. The Frost Staff is a 2% drop chance from ice elementals and icy mermen. There's the frozen staff. Okay, we got one. Now all I want is the Flower of Frost from ice mimics. I did happen to get a Crystal Vial Shard while farming, and I'd love to use it, but I'm fairly confident it's a fairly used weapon. But maybe I should have taken it and ran, because this ice mimic didn't drop it, neither did this one. I hate you so much. Or this one, and then I didn't even see another ice mimic until 15 minutes later, who also didn't drop the Flower of Frost. For context, this has been over an hour of farming. I have gotten 3 frozen turtle shells, 4 frost staves, 4 frost bands, and 2 ice bows. So let's just say I got my Flower of Frost and move on. This leaves 2 more weapons, the Bloodthorn and Medusa's Head, and I'm in the underground jungle in hunt for a marble biome to get that Medusa Head. The marble took a bit longer than I would have thought to find, but at least once we were there, a bunch of Medusas started spawning. The Medusa Head has a 4% drop chance from Medusas, which isn't that bad all things considered. But you want to know what happened? More pizza. I don't think pizza is supposed to be that common. Oh, you're kidding me. I have had 3 slices of pizza, and you're right. pocket mirror and pizza. I have 3 slices of pizza. They're 2% and 0 Medusa heads at 4. And I have 3 slices of pizza. Many Medusas later, and we finally got our hands on the not very good weapon, the Medusa head. The only place this weapon would excel in is against flying enemies in the open air. Mind you, this does not include worm type enemies, which it performs maybe slightly above your average single target weapon. The only boss I've ever even tried using the Medusa head against is the Destroyer, where it works pretty well to take down the probes, but not the worm. But I have a different plan for Destroyer, and figure I'd try the weapon against Prime, thinking it might do well at targeting the 4 hands, but doing this revealed a key flaw. You gotta play it real close for the Medusa head to do much of anything. This is definitely a weapon that would need some serious reworking for it to make any sense for somebody to farm for. It's a low base damage, short range weapon that does well against crowds, but not against worms, and only on the surface, as it has a weird behavior that can make it very difficult to use underground. In the end, the Flower of Frost and Froststaff had to carry the fight really hard. Definitely not proving itself in any way. This brings us to the Old Woods Army, where we will farm for our next unused mage weapon, the Tome of Infinite Wisdom. I think most people know that this is a good weapon, but nobody can be bothered to farm for it, because by the time you defeated one mech, you're already capable of taking down the twins, if you haven't already, and with its Souls of Sight, you can make better weapons. That fact makes it available for us this run, where we discovered the Medusa head is our best option for handling the flying enemies that escape into the skies, and it genuinely was a big help against them. I had been hoping for a Blood Moon to farm for the Bloodthorn, because it's actually quite good against this event at this stage with the right setup, but I still haven't gotten a single Blood Moon, so we might just end up being forced to leave that weapon as unused because unlucky me has no Blood Moons. Speaking of unlucky, how many ogres do you think I had to defeat to get the tome? Finally, the Tome of Infinite Wisdom, oh my goodness. That was 10 ogres and running through the entire Old Ones Army event a whopping 7 times. But hey, we got it, which means we can do this. Beautiful. Oh, that's so nice. And then it does great against the probes. Oh, dude, the Tome of Infinite Wisdom on Destroyer is such a chill fight. I expected the Tome of Infinite Wisdom to do pretty well against the twins, but it was only kind of okay. The Flower of Frost, I think, was actually doing higher damage to the boss. It just has less range, but with this arena and precise movement, it's not that hard to hit the boss pretty consistently. Now, the Tome of Infinite Wisdom will hopefully carry us against Plantera. My current weapons are what I'm stuck with against Plantera. The Rainbow Rod is probably one of the single most used mage weapons in the game, and the Magic Harp, although I never really see anybody using it, I still suspect sees a good bit of use. I can't say the same, however, for Plantera's 3 mage weapons. The Nettle Burst is a really good piercing weapon, but it comes at a phase in the game where that weapon type is far less useful against the fast-moving flying bosses post-plant. At best, it's really helpful for exploring the jungle temple, but why go out of your way farming for a weapon just to explore this place? The Wasp Gun is fine, I guess, but I also haven't used it in so long, I have no idea what it's actually capable of. And the Leaf Blower is kind of like a mage mini shark with slower projectiles. If you can hit your target consistently, it's fine, but without any piercing, it struggles to find a use. So yes, all 3 of Plantera's weapons are on the table, and I'll use whichever one happens to drop first. So we're making a little farm area for Plantera bulbs and life roots, but even with that and sleeping through a couple of day cycles, I wanna go grab a snack. I'll be right back. It still took an hour, yes, an hour before I found my first Plantera bulb, and I've only come across 5 life roots, one of which I shimmered. Before I fight the plant though, I'll clear out these bushes just so more can spawn in case this one doesn't drop a mage weapon. Oh, what? Oh no! 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 I wasn't paying attention! Oh, this is bad. This is really, really bad. Okay, we need to go down. There's an open area if we go down. Okay. In fact, actually, if we stay around this area, we might be able to recover our health. Very cautious how we play this, and we might be able to recover. I don't know the odds of this, but another spawned in almost the exact same spot. This time though, I didn't break it on accident and made an actual arena. So we got to fighting the plants where the Flower of Frost still seems to be my best single target weapon, and the Tome does fine in second phase, but it eats too much mana, so then I'm often left without enough mana to defend myself. It does well with clearing the tentacles, but requires I attack at an angle. The Venom Staff or Rainbow Rod would have been much better for this, but the Venom Staff is also outlawed as I personally use it quite often. Do we get a mage weapon from this Plantera? No, not a big deal though. Can't always get what you want from the first plant, but it has 3 mage weapons that I'm looking for with a combined 37.5% drop chance. What could go wrong? Roll the tape. Oh, we got the Flower Pow. No mage weapon again! I feel like she should be a lot closer to dead right now. What? Another... Another grenade launcher! Come on, man. I didn't know that luck could be this bad. And mage weapon. Oh. And a mage weapon? Oh, the grenade launcher again? Are you kidding me? Real logic? Can we have a little heart-to-heart right now? Plantera's weapons are all kind of just okay. None of them, not a single one of them, is worth going out of your way to farm for, so nobody does. There are some weapons that'd be fun to actually use on occasion, so I beg of you. Oh, Real Logic, I beg of you, make it so Plantera drops some flower petal item or something that can be used to make Plantera summons. Please, make this boss farmable. I don't care if you have to find the first Plantera bulb on your own. Just give us an option for afterwards. Ha! So after I went to therapy, I went to the ocean to farm for a pirate map. The reason I want to fight and defeat this invasion is for the pirate NPC. Post Plantera, we can get every NPC in the game, which would allow for the princess to spawn, who can drop the resident scepter, which nobody gets because, well, it's annoying to get. We still need a few more NPCs, and in the meantime, we'll take down the solar eclipse and search for the unused toxic flask weapon. This can be obtained at the same time as the Inferno Fork, but has less range, does less damage, and is arguably harder to get. I'd be happy to hear one thing it does better than the Inferno Fork, because I can't find it. So it's not that big of a deal that I didn't get a single flask the entire solar eclipse, but it just adds to the terrible luck we've been having. And maybe you're wondering why I don't go to the dungeon for one of the 3 stabs. Well, I think all of them are pretty heavily used, even though I am convinced the Spectre Staff is worse than the Rainbow Rod. I still need to test it. Here's the result of that testing. The Spectre Staff, by the looks of it, can get as high as 2,700, but is often hovering around the 2,000 damage per second mark. The Rainbow Rod, meanwhile, it hovers closer to around 1,300 to 1,400 damage. So the Spectre Staff definitely is a lot stronger, which, I mean, it's good to see that that's the case, but you still won't catch me using the Spectre Staff in my regular runs. I think it's overhyped. We set up some glowing mushroom housing to get us closer to the princess, and we will actually go to the dungeon to farm partially because bulbs stopped spawning in the jungle, so I've been staying away for a while to let them spawn, and also to look for ectoplasm. But there is one weapon I haven't mentioned, the magnet sphere. I'm not sure how used it is, but only 30% of people in my stream said they regularly use it as a mage, and I think it's slept on as a support weapon. We'll upgrade to the Spectre armor, and now there are 3 Plantera bulbs that I've spotted, so let's see how this goes. We have 3 Plantera bags. 1. Got a Flower Pow. 2. We got a Wasp Gun. Okay. I am very happy with that. That's the one I wanted the most. And the Venus Magnum. Well, let's just go fight Golem and see how we do. I had some hope for the Wasp Gun, but was sorely disappointed by its very poor performance against Golem. It does benefit from the high pack bee buff, but just like the bee gun, Mage doesn't have accessory slots to build for bees and mana. Not seeing this being good. The bees are hanging around for a very long time. Okay, yeah, so maybe the Wasp Gun I should view as more of a support weapon. Even as a support weapon, it's not great, so I think this weapon needs an overhaul unless I'm missing something. As for Golem himself, I don't think most people use his weapons, especially the heat ray. The Staff of Earth might get a decent amount of use, but it's still not something I see or hear much about. Now, I'm not collecting the Hollow Key to get the Rainbow Gun because, well, my luck has been terrible this run, and I didn't want to try to farm the key. As for the Laser Machine Gun and Charged Blaster Cannon from the Martians, I decided not to get them, again, because my luck has been absolutely terrible, but also I kept on hearing people talk about using them, so maybe they're more used than I thought they were. From 5 golems, I only got the Heat Ray though, so we get to use the most unused one to unsuccessfully farm the Solar Eclipse for a Tosca Flask a second time. There was a third eclipse that happened the next day though, naturally, and this time we got it, so that's cool. My useless Toxic Flask. And honestly, I think the Flower of Frost Wasp Gun combo was doing better against Golem than this is. We also got a Staff of Earth from farming this time, and if you don't know, this thing shreds invasions like nobody's business. It's not even bad against single targets either. It's probably the best weapon mages can use to clear the moon event's early phases before the flying bosses appear, at which point the Heat Ray does a great job clearing them quickly. And of course, we're farming the Pumpkin Moon in search for the Bat Scepter, a weapon I also think people understand to be pretty solid, but because it's the only mage item drop by this event and the odds of getting it are pretty low, I don't think most mages bother with it and instead head straight to the Frost Moon to farm for a Razor Pine or Blizzard Staff. And although I do think the Blizzard Staff is a pretty unused weapon as well, I decided to exclude it from this run to focus more on these other weapons. I'm also in the happy situation where golem farming got me 2 golem eyes, which with some wall farming allows me to create an absurd damage build. At this point, we have every unused weapon before Cultist because Duke's mage weapons are highly used, and Empress, although I think her weapons are usually ignored, I'm not really sure, and I'm never farming a Stellar Tune again for reasons some of you might understand. And I really wanted to get the Resonant Scepter, but the Party Girl is the only NPC I'm missing because she hasn't appeared this entire playthrough, and with a 2.5% chance of appearing on any given day, I'm not liking my odds, so I guess we'll head to Cultist. Are you kidding me? One of them ran down here. Sir, this is inexcusable behavior. Where did he go, Flo? Is the archer down here? Guys, where did the last archer go? I searched everywhere, but could not find him. I've never had this happen before where he just yeeted out of existence. Nothing a little save and exit can fix though. Against Cultists, I wasn't sure any of these weapons were remarkable, especially since I have an unusually well-built damage build, so normally these would be performing even worse than they are. I think the Bat Scepter would probably have done even better than the Heat Ray despite the Cultist damage resistance to homing weapons, but it's whatever. We cleared the Cultist easily enough. Party Girl! We should have all the NPCs. I can't imagine who we wouldn't have right now. Wait, Princess spawned? Oh, sweet! I throw the princess into the box of water to drown her, which worked out, but she didn't drop the Resonant Scepter. With only a 12.5% chance of dropping it, it's not likely we'd get it anytime soon now that the pillars will be keeping me from sleeping, so I'm just going to test it out here. I wasn't sure what boss to actually try the Resonant Scepter against, so I decided to do Duke Fishron, where it is actually performing pretty admirably. Like this, I could see myself trying to use this, although its damage isn't exactly particularly special. What is really cool about it though is that it attacks wherever the cursor is. I don't know if blocks would stop it. Like let's see here. If we put some blocks with these in the way, can I attack? Okay, so blocks do stop its attack, which makes it a little less useful. And I, am never going to go out of my way for this thing, but I could definitely see it actually being quite a good weapon if you are able to actually get it soon after beating Plantera. We return to the pillars where we can't make the heavily used Nebula Blaze, so instead make the Nebula Arcanum. I really don't understand this weapon or what it's meant to be used for. It's most effective when shot directly into pillars, but otherwise struggles to find a foothold as a useful weapon. Its projectile is too slow to keep up with Moonlord or even most pillar enemies. Its damage is nothing special. I really just can't make heads or tails out of why you'd craft this instead of saving the fragments to make the Celestial Sigil. I tried using it against Moonlord, but the Seers would hit the eyes a single time and then never catch back up. Maybe with a super tanky mage build where you don't need to run away, this could work out better, but I just don't see it. In the end, I found the Bat Scepter and Heat Ray outperformed the Arcanum against Moonlord by a wide margin and actually did way better than I expected they would. Now, I did have an insane amount of damage buffs. We do need to focus on that. Like, this is the ultimate damage build, but that actually worked pretty well. And that was Terraria with unused mage weapons. Which of these weapons do you often use? And if you enjoyed the video, you should check out this one, where I beat Terraria but only used unused summoner weapons.